is Papa Forrest with the Initiated Man podcast, and I have with me today Pedro Ferrando. He's one of 38 level 3 instructors in the world for animal flow. He's also one of 4 in the world master teachers of animal flow.
That's not fully correct.
No, okay, that was on the Animal Flow website.
No.
Yeah.
The Animal Flow website.
Uh-huh.
There's no way.
Huh?
There's.
What is it?
So I'm the one and only master performance coach.
Okay.
I think there are 38 master instructors.
Okay.
And there are a little bit more level 3 instructors, but I was the first.
You're the first person to get his level 3. You'll have to check out the website because that's what I saw.
Cool.
Is you were one of 4.
That's interesting.
But good to know. And Pei also travels the world teaching animal flow. He teaches it here in Nosara. Pei is also a good brother of mine and a beautiful example of an embodied masculine presence that I feel honored to call my friend and brother. So welcome.
Wow, thank you so much for those words. I appreciate you. I appreciate this. And yeah, it's a pleasure for me. It's an honor. And thank you so much.
Yeah, beautiful, brother. So this is the first podcast that I have a guest on. And I would love to start off the podcast by doing a Honi breath. It's a Hawaiian, it comes from the Hawaiian culture, and I would be honored if you would share that moment with me.
100%. And just for you to know, I lived in Kauai, one of the Hawaiian islands, for 3 years, and I saw people doing this salutation, and I always was like, drawn to it. So it's awesome that you're inviting me to do it now.
Have you not done it yet?
I've done it
before?
Once or twice with someone, but yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Get the mic out of the way. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So, now do you like to be called Pei or?
Yeah, Pei works.
Okay.
Pei works.
So let me get my notes here. Okay. So, what do you love about men?
Oof. Wow. In first place, the desire to hold space for others. Could be a partner, could be a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, though that sometimes could be a little bit more tricky or for me, but yeah, that holding space, taking care, that.
Just being like a solid presence.
Yeah, exactly. Someone that people can count on,
Mm.
due to just their natural strength, and of course, then we have all kinds of men, but like the innate desire to take care, to protect, to serve, all that summed up, hold space.
Yeah.
For someone or for something.
And do you have like a person in your life that you either like now or in the past that you feel like when you're thinking about this example of a man who holds space and feels safe and takes care of Have you felt that from a man?
Yes, I did. Definitely, the first one is my father. My father is for me an example of someone that takes care, especially of his kids
Mm-hmm.
and the family. Then, with my mom, they had a very special relationship. They were separated for 10 years. They came back together. Now they are together.
Wow.
They were divorced, 10 years separate, completely different roads and different people in their lives, and then they got back together, which is pretty special. So he is a figure that, but he was always there for me and my brothers, and even for my mother throughout all this time.
Mm-hmm.
He was always a masculine figure that was present to take care, to protect, to serve. So definitely my father. Um,
Is there a specific moment that you can think of? If you can, if not, that's okay. But like,
yeah, no,
you like
no.
really give us like a picture of what that felt like.
Um, hmm, okay, a specific moment.
It could be like a general.
Yeah, I mean, he built our first home like
Mhm.
as a family. I was born in the U.S. I lived. We as a family lived for 3 years there. I had a second brother born in the U.S. and then we moved to Argentina. We lived for a few years at families' houses. I think first was one grandmother, then it was the other one, or a house from someone else, until we moved into our own home, our first family home, and that one was built by my father, and I saw
Wow.
it built from scratch. And he would always work on things in that house, like and helped building. I don't know, el quincho we would call it, like a space where you would have dinners or whatever, and then the pool, and then another room, and then the garage, and the garden was always his territory. He would take care of the grass and the trees, and he would build a little barn where we had chickens, and he was very manually gifted,
Mm-hmm.
and it's stuff I appreciate because I've never really practiced much.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I relate that to a strong
Mm.
masculine presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the way that you're speaking about him, at least in this moment, it feels like you felt that he, or at least what I'm feeling, is that like he can do anything. Like he can build a house, he can take care of us. Like it feels like you felt safe
A
with
hundred
with him.
percent. 100%. Yes, especially when I was a kid, and yeah, I feel when I was a kid, 100%.
Yeah.
As a kid, always
Mm-hmm.
until I was, yeah, I don't know exactly the age. At some point in life, that changed,
Mm-hmm.
and we went through a very specific thing that I don't know if you're gonna go there or not, but we'll see. But anyways, for sure, when I was a kid, he was there.
Yeah.
He was a very strong figure. He
Yeah.
was like a hero and strong man, and
Mm-hmm.
physically super capable, and
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, of course.
And if you would like, you don't have to, but it feels like that's kind of where it's flowing. Like, do you want to share about what that was, that moment with your father where that seemed to have changed?
Yeah, I think it has to do. It has to do with it starts with the relationship to, I guess, sexual energy,
Mm.
and some of his ways. But I don't like to say his because it's not necessarily his. Could be just a masculine option,
Yeah.
just an option. And I also embodied that for a very long time.
What
Not
is that?
that I may encapsulate it in toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just relating to women in a way that it could seem like we are objectifying them, and at some point I was the one feeling somehow objectified by him,
Mm.
and then it went a little bit further into some physical touching that I felt was a
Mm.
little bit over the top, and I tried to put a limit to that. And I was also changing. I was growing up, I was training, and my physical body was changing, and then yeah, there were some specific actions and moments where I felt that he was invading me a little bit, and I spoke that, and I was not heard, and until it was like, well, there was one episode, which again, it was minor, really minor, like just a touch here and there, and not necessarily on a very on a challenging area in a
Yes, I
way,
understand.
and but still I felt like, whoa, still you're still invading me a little bit,
Yeah.
and it made me wonder what would have happened when I was a kid, and I went into a rabbit hole which was kind of weird, and I spoke. I was able, then this is something I appreciate from this too, that I was able to speak this with him, and I was able to tell him, like, I'm going through this rabbit hole. I wonder what happened when I was a kid. And the story goes into a very strange direction where I learned that we carry something from a past life where I was a partner of his, and there was way more violence there, and I was able
Mm.
to see and feel that through some work that I did, and I understood it, and then it made me understand, yeah, that we can still love each other amidst these differences in the way we work with this specific sexual energy, if anything, and then also understand that I was never a victim of this, and he was not the guilty. There's no víctima o culpable. And and the last thing I did was I was able to kind of remove these episodes. Like
Mm.
I went through the episodes again, and I was able to dismantle them. It was like during the episode, while I was I did like different medicine journeys, some
Mhm.
with sacred plants, some without sacred plants, and ultimately I got to a point where I went back to an episode of those, and I could see like him just vanishing into like all these
Mm.
pieces of light, and I understood that ultimately I was the one creating all of it.
Mm.
I was in a way acting through him too, so it made me just release all kind of like anger and a sense of like, oh, you're guilty of this, or you did this to me. No, it was, so I understand it was not like that. Was just a dynamic we were both involved in, and we worked through it. And again, I was able to share exactly like I'm sharing it to you. I shared it to him, and he took it very well. Like, although he hasn't worked with these things and stuff, he just accepted it, and we kept moving forward, and
Yeah.
we have a good relationship these days. We don't see each other much. I don't live in Argentina, he's there, but once a few years we met, or in a different country, or a few weeks ago I went to Argentina back after a few years. So,
Mhm.
and when I go back there, I stay with them, and it's all good. um, yeah.
Let's take a deep breath in together.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, and I honor the strength that you have to, first of all, share that with me and with everyone who's listening. And I feel like it's important for any man to share their story and to be heard, and and I honor your strength of speaking to him, talking to him, and yeah. Do you feel like you you're clear with him, and that you're done with that, and you did what you had to do in order to move on in life, or is there any like lingering, like anything, or
No, I am. It's 100% clean,
good?
and
Yeah.
it took time,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it took a moment of anger and like distance, and I don't
Yeah.
want to see you, and I don't want you to touch me. You cannot hug me anymore.
Yeah.
It went from that
Yeah.
completely distant, and me living in the middle of nowhere, far away, for some years, until we got back to each other, and moments where we would even look at ourselves like, whoa, that's the energy. You're feeling it, right? And
Mm.
me saying that to him just with my eyes,
Mm.
and seeing him face being like, whoa, yeah, like,
Oh yeah.
and me both like, whoa, understanding that, whoa, yeah, this is an energy.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's like I feel like the conclusion that I want to create out of this is that first it's good that I can speak this
Yeah.
openly to you and to anyone,
Yeah.
because I don't have to feel ashamed or embarrassed, and it's also
Right.
good that the person that is on the other side, in this case my father, it's not doesn't have to be ashamed or embarrassed either. It's just an energy, it's just an option, and it's not ours, it's something that comes from way behind. It's just ways that we explored as humans, and especially as men. And he got raised how he got raised, and he explored things the way he did. And again, it also comes from a different life, so it would be too hard to put it on blaming someone. I don't think there's no one to be blamed here. It's just both of us decided to go through this exploration of energetical exploration, and to also understand ourselves and our emotions. And I went through anger, and I went through guilt, and I went through shame, and now I'm going through just strength and overcoming and power and embodiment. And
Beautiful. It's so interesting to hear, because I haven't learned this about you until this moment, and it's I feel so much more connected to you after you've shared this. And so thank you so much. Like, I really, really appreciate that, for allowing me to receive that. I'm so grateful.
I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate this space to share this for ourselves, for our practice, whatever it is that we are practicing, and also for everyone who's hearing and can get inspired in any way.
Beautiful. So we're going to shift a little bit after that.
Cool.
Cool. So what is Pedro Ferrando's mission on this earth? And go deep with it, not just business, but like, what are you here? And it can include your business too. But what are you here on this planet to do?
Well, I think that may shift. That have shifted.
What is it right now?
But right now,
your core.
First thing that comes, like, could be like cliche, but just being an expression of love, like unconditional love to whatever is, and even the darkest beings. I'm open and willing to sit with them and see them and hear them and give them an opportunity. I have zero. It's something that I'm very clear about. Like, I can sit with any single human being, and I feel like everyone, it's just us. We are literally one, and just exploring different possibilities. So that could be like I don't know, the most deeper stuff. Just trying to be that expression of love, and again, continuously exploring it and understanding where is it that I'm going. And it's not that I have it completely figured out. And then on the side, you have the movement, like just being an inspiration of what we can do with our body, and an invitation to really honor this human vessel of ours, in whatever shape or form. I mean, I love animal flow, and it's my main practice. It's the one I love to teach, and it's the one I experienced to really help me a lot in my relationship with my body. But there's plenty of options and so many wonderful practices. So
for sure,
just inviting others to move and inspiring others to move and to connect with their bodies. That's definitely a mission of mine, or it has been for the last 8 years. That thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so what I'm hearing you say is, like, no matter what you're doing right now, your focus is animal flow, and some other things you're getting into that maybe we'll talk about. But that no matter what it is that you're doing, it's at the core of it, you're doing it from a place of unconditional love. And it's like, you might be teaching someone how to do an animal flow or these other things, but you're doing it from a place of love, and I have experienced that. And so it's not just animal flow, for example, it's your specific transmission of animal flow. I'm sure that not all animal flow instructors are the same, just like, I'm getting into jiu-jitsu now, and not everyone is the same. Some people are, the gym that I'm going to very much has that like grounded, loving, playful, but also like very into the martial art and serious. We're really fighting, but it really feels like there's something deeper going on there. And I know that's not present in a lot of gyms in the United States. And so just like you're putting out your specific transmission, which I think is like really important for like you and everyone else to know that it's like, we might be doing this thing on the outside, but on the deeper level, it's like people are really feeling you and us, and you're transmitting something deeper than just animal flow to people, and people are feeling that. I have felt that personally, and so just
100%. I love the word transmission. I never thought that way for what I do, and it makes sense, because I've been like recalling some words that I've been using and some phrases, and like constantly reminding the student or the attendee that you're perfect wherever you're at, and rule number one is to protect yourself, and and thank you for taking care of yourself, and like stuff like that. It's like, it sounds like, oh, whatever, but actually it's just a little reminder, and just putting it out there, it's so valuable,
very valuable.
And also, I've been working with kids. I work with your kids too. And something I learned with kids, and I found myself speaking yesterday with a few friends. At first, I thought my approach was going to be movement and animal flow. And then I realized that I'm not sure yet what is it that I have. I'm figuring it out. I'm feeling it. But there is something that the kids are getting from me that I feel that it's good.
Yes.
And for me, it's amidst like whatever money is involved or whatever practice is involved, it's just good to give that to these new beings that are coming to this earth. And that can go back to the question of my mission. I think there is something with kids. I'm just, because I want to be really careful, because they are kids and they absorb everything and they can just take everything to whatever direction. I want to be very careful. But I've been feeling that there's something that kids see in me that I'm not sure what it is yet, but it creates like an excitement and an energy and a joy that is like, whoa, I think I should give that to this kid. And it's not that I have to do anything but be. Yes. Maybe move, maybe say a word, or maybe something, but it's not something specific. It's just just by being, there's something that I'm giving. So I'm working with that also.
Yeah. Honestly, I think if you're listening to the audio version of this, we have sticks as microphones. If you're seeing the video, you can see that we do have those here. Cheers. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is that just our essence, our being, like right now, we could sit here and not speak. We could just be sitting next to each other, looking out at the beach, and I would be getting something from you. And that's why I love, it's a very mainstream thing, but it's, you are, what do they say? You are your 5 closest friends or something like that. And it's because that's the energy that you're surrounding you with. It's not like, because they tell you a certain thing or they have like good advice. It's because they're embodying a certain energy and you are feeding off of that. And so that's the same thing that you're talking about that we're really talking about for the animal flow. You're not just teaching them animal flow. You're expressing yourself, and they're learning just by your beingness.
Yeah.
The animal flow is just a vehicle.
Totally.
So whatever you're doing with the kids is just a vehicle for them to feel you, because you are the medicine. You are the medicine. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it really doesn't matter what you're doing. You're interested in these new things, and it's like people are going to be getting Pedro. No,
Yeah.
no matter what, you're the thing.
Thank you.
So yeah.
I see that.
So yeah, let's. So I want to go back to when you first got into animal flow. You said it was 8 years ago.
2018.
2018.
2017.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Más o menos.
Más o menos.
So, tell us what was going on in your life at that point, and what inspired you to go into animal flow. Because a lot of people, they get into things and then they can stop 2 years in or 3 years in, but it's clearly like it has stuck with you, and maybe you'll transition at some point, but no, whatever.
No, yeah, you could.
Could.
Definitely, I'm adding stuff in the mix. I've been playing with adding on stuff, but it is there, and I hope it stays for a long time.
Yeah. So you're in it. You're really in it for a long time.
Yeah.
So take us back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that might be listening to this, and they might be on a similar journey, whether it be with animal flow or just maybe something else. And yeah.
So it definitely came with a shift in my life, like overall, and it wasn't animal flow at first. At first it was kung fu. So after 20 years of playing football, soccer, and having a specific lifestyle, specific energies around me, and stuff that I was doing on a daily basis, suddenly a very specific year came up where I went to a complete madness and like exploring whatever, and then feeling really lost in life. And then that's when I came across a Kung Fu Shaolin temple.
Where was this?
In Buenos Aires. In Argentina. So literally 15 minutes away from the house I was living, there was this temple. And a friend told me, hey, why don't you go and try this? You're clearly seeing that you are on a journey that is weird, so maybe try something like this. And I tried it, and I got immediately in love with Kung Fu. And I trained for a year in that Shaolin temple, multiple times a week, and then outside of the temple kept practicing the forms. And then I moved to Peru, because although I had this tool now, it was only for me, and it was still like figuring it out what I was gonna do with this. And then I still traveled to Peru, because there's something about Argentina that I needed to just leave. And when I was in Peru and I couldn't continue that specific Kung Fu practice, that's when I met Animal Flow. And what happened with Animal Flow, it's that I loved it right away. It has a martial arts component. We have like side kicks and front kicks, so we have that aspect covered. But now what we have in Animal Flow is a very specific structure that it's very accessible and digestible for other people. So what came up with Animal Flow for me was something I could use not only for myself, but something I could use to serve others, to teach others. And Kung Fu is an ancestral practice that everybody knows or ever have heard, or Animal Flow, it's new. It's like 10 years. So it was like, might as well learn this from the actual creator and go back to Argentina, go back to South America, and then all over the world, just teaching something that is new. And that is so easily digestible and accessible, and it's great for training, and it's good to connect with your inner kid when you go to the ground. And it's a workout and it's a dance and it's an active meditation and it's whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to make out of the practice. But yeah, basically that, again, from being completely lost without purpose or I found this tool that served me and give me something that I could give to others. I was feeling like lost in that sense, like what am I doing here, what am I, why am I here, what am I. So this animal flow came there.
Beautiful. And did you learn it? Was your introduction to animal flow from the creator? What's his name?
Mike Fitch.
Yeah.
No. Well, the first thing I saw was on Instagram. It was a video of this was 2018. I was in Peru. I saw this video from a girl in Jordan called Jasmine. And I actually went to Jordan and did animal flow classes in Jordan.
Wow.
Yeah. But I met her online. I saw her doing a few moves, and I was like, "Whoa, that's like a side kick through and a front kick. It looks like a martial art. What is that? Animal flow." Boom, level 1 workshop happening in Miami, and it was again. I need to go there. I need to do this workshop. I did it. Became an instructor. The moves felt like so natural for me. I was like, "Whoa, okay, I need to just master this and teach it." And something that I love about the practice is that it's infinite. Like, it's not that you learn 30 moves and that's it. Now what do you do? No, you can combine them in infinite ways.
Yeah.
And then comes like once you master the move, then you can add on like style or breathe. So it's a journey that never ends if you want to.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, I love because I know you've been doing it for a while now, but it really does. And I didn't know you 8 years ago when you first started, but it just feels so much like it probably did feel natural to you when you started, and it just feels so beautiful to watch. It's like this, like I watch you at Ecstatic dance sometimes, and it's like this really beautiful, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, because I work a lot in like masculine, feminine, and it's a really beautiful balance of the two. I'm like, at some points I'm like, wow, he's like really in his flow, and it looks like, feminine. And then other times I'm watching it and I'm like, whoa, he's like an animal, like, really masculine. And then sometimes it's just like both, like a beautiful mix of like this beautiful animalistic like dance / martial art that's like, it's just a really beautiful. And the way you do it is, I actually haven't seen anyone else do it, but I can feel that the way you do it is like very unique to you, and it's just a beautiful expression to me of the human body. And I love, like, at ecstatic dance, it's like, feels like you're really in your flow with it, and you're not like animal flow,
no
ABC, like, no, you're really like flowing with it.
Totally. It's I think it's very important to separate that, because one thing is an animal flow class where I teach the moves, where we're training, we're working out, and we're also combining these moves into flows where I invite you to feel and express however you want to. But it's completely different in an ecstatic dance setting where there's music, and it's just sometimes it is animal flow, but then I'm just like jumping around and it's not animal flow anymore. It's like coming in and out of animal flow stuff. But I definitely go into the animal flow moves because they're just where my body goes.
It's totally beautiful to see.
Thank you, man.
So I want to transition now, because you mentioned, let's take a deep breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Thank you. So I want to transition. You had mentioned a moment in time, because this is the Initiated Man podcast. And you had mentioned a time in Venice Beach that you had an initiatory experience. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about that experience?
Yeah. So in 2016, I was completely lost in my life. I quitted my 4 year job, quitted my fifth career, um, went back to living with my parents after a year and a half of living with friends in a house we were renting, and yeah, just smoking a bunch of weed, and which I mean I respect and love marijuana and cannabis, but I was clearly overusing it, and yeah, in that moment of feeling completely lost, I one night in that house of my parents, I decided to write what I did that day. At the end of the writing, I was for many years I considered myself a writer. I mean, I still consider myself a writer, but I would present myself like, "What do you do?" I'm a writer. That was my answer. Just like now, I'm an animal flow
Mm-hmm.
master performance coach or animal flow practitioner. Back then, I was a writer.
Hmm.
I wrote whatever I did that day, and by the end of the writing, it was 2:45 a.m. And I said I'm gonna write 245 days of my life in a row, and each day is gonna be a chapter, and this is gonna be my first book. And
Wow.
I wrote many different stories, and I love handwriting, but this was like this was gonna be like the first book, and the ultimate goal of this book or this project was to actually know myself. Like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm gonna keep record of everything I do if I write for 245 days.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's what I did, and then a few stories happened at the beginning. No one knew about that I was doing this project. I wanted no one to know that they were gonna be in my book, because my family was gonna be in my book, my
Mm-hmm.
friends were gonna be in my book. My rule number one was I'm gonna write exactly what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, well, there's a story that we should not go there, but that it destroyed me, because it was about a person that I was meeting online, because it was the only person that knew about this book, because I thought it was a good idea to have someone reading it. And then right before I was gonna see finally this person was like, "No, I don't want to see you.
Mm.
This doesn't feel good to me," and yeah, she just vanished.
Mm.
And it was a for me, it became a love story, and I
Yeah.
thought the book was gonna have this beautiful love story where
Ooh.
we actually now met, and we never met.
Wow.
And that destroyed me,
Mm.
and I decided I need to go on a trip and just fly away from Argentina, and I'm done here, I need to do something else. And I booked a flight to the US and a flight back for 4 months, and I went to the US having no idea what I was gonna do. First time solo in the US, although I was born there and lived there 2 years when I was a kid. So, and then I landed in New York, spent a week, just separated some money for New York, spent a week writing about. I went to see two theater things. I wrote about all the things I did in New York, and then I flew to LA.
Mm.
I landed in Venice. I had a friend that had a story in Venice, so he would always speak good things about Venice. And I was like, well, might as well go there. Um, and I landed in Venice, and I booked a hostel right in front of the ocean in Venice Beach. Have you been to Venice Beach?
Yes.
Cool. Do you know the police station and the V there, the boardwalk? Do you remember
I
that?
think I've been there like a couple times,
Okay.
but, so I don't really.
Cool. Anyways, this was right in front of the ocean, and I booked the hostel for 5 nights. And on the second day, I was trying to get a job because my flight back was in November, and this was already July.
Hmm.
So I landed in Venice in July 4, July 4 or 5, and then booked hostel for 5 nights. Second day, trying to get a job because my flight was in November, and I had money. I had like $2,000 to spend a few months, but the hostel was $50 a night. So
Yeah.
went to just the boardwalk has plenty of shops that sell whatever, and I went into one of them. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be a few months here. If there's a possibility I can do a shift, or a couple shifts a week or something. And they were, yeah man, we sell shirts. Like, I had like the U.S. passport, social security, I have everything. So, and they taught me, and I did the first 2 hours, and then I was standing there in the shop, and they already give me, like, they asked me like, are you okay with like 4 shifts a week from like, I don't know, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or something like that. It was many hours.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, yeah. And then after 2 hours, they already taught me everything, like the price of the shirts and like the procedures that the protocols, whatever. And then I was like standing there, like, wait, am I gonna write tonight that I spend all this amount of hours in this shop
Yeah.
when there's so many things happening around you? Because
Yes.
Venice Beach, it's insane. It's like, so many different things, so many different energies. And I quit it right away. On day one, I quit it, and I remember I felt anguish that day. It was like I went crying into the hostel. There was an Egyptian friend of mine, not friend. I met him in the hostel, but he was like, "Yeah, let's go get some, let's go smoke in the beach and chill." And I was like, "Yeah, I might as well." And I even have a video of myself just speaking with him,
Yeah.
with this Egyptian guy, being like, "Yeah, man, I just quit my job, and I don't know what to do, and yeah, we're now gonna smoke a joint, whatever." And so then, but during those 5 nights, so, well, at that point it was like, hey, what I'm gonna do, I really don't know, but my writing was solid. Every day I would write at night, the end of the day, like what I did that day, and then I had handbooks that I would write handwriting, whatever was happening, whatever I was seeing. And in Venice Beach you have these calypso tumblers. These are like 5 guys that do these amazing tricks with their body and stuff, and then they go with the la gorra. I don't know how you call it, but they go like,
Tip jar.
yeah, exactly, like a tip jar, and they just get a bunch of money from tourists.
Yeah.
And they have a beautiful message, like there's only one race, the human race, and they all shout together and whatever, stuff like that. And I would always go, and they did like their show like 3-4 times a day, like in the morning, midday, afternoon, sunset, whatever. And I would always go and watch them and write about them and film them. And at some point, their leader, that was this like older guy, Rasta, he came to me and he asked me, "Hey, I saw you've been coming, you've been writing, you've been filming, like, who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a writer. I'm writing 245 days of my life. I'm from Argentina. I'm gonna be here a few months. I'm looking for, yeah, or a job or a place to stay." And then he looked at me on that moment, on that day, on that first encounter, and he told me that I was a man of the street, that I was an artist, that there was a network there, and that he was gonna help me, and that I should write the experience of living in the streets of Venice.
Wow.
And I was like, I even feel like the goosebumps now.
Yeah,
I
I see him.
just watching at him, like, what? Like,
Yeah.
never thought that. And I always grew up in a family where my fridge was always full, and I always had a bed and a room, and my family never had, like, although we had struggles, economical, financial, but it was never like nothing like sleeping outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, let me think of it. I don't know. I still have a few more nights in the hostel, and yeah, that night I was like, I think I should do this. Why not? And at least just try one day and see what happens.
Yeah.
And the next day I went to, and his name is Raymond Bartlett, and you can find him. He has like crazy videos doing like handstands on stairs, like walking down, and Rasta. Now he's old, but
Yeah.
And then I told him, okay, Raymond, yeah, I like, what do you mean? Like, where? Like, what are you seeing? And he showed me the spot, and the spot is like I was saying earlier, Venice has like a police station in front of the ocean, and there's like this big short B for Venice, and the boardwalk. There's a lot of people walking all day long, and there's like right next to the police station, there's like a kids playground, and one of the houses has like sand underneath, and he told me, you can sleep here. Nothing is gonna happen to you. You have the police station right next to you. It doesn't rain in LA, in Venice, in July, August. It literally doesn't rain, or summer, or summer doesn't rain. And he told me I can get you a sleeping bag,
Wow.
and I can get you a bike. Please, before you leave, just give me back my bike. And I was like, wow, yeah, man, absolutely. So he got me with the sleeping bag. He got me with the bike. And then he told me, when you leave the hostel, when is your last night? My last night in the hostel was July 10th. Let me know, and I'll pick you up the next morning. We'll take your stuff to a public storage. I had no idea what a public storage was at that time. took me, and it was like 10 minutes from my spot. And we went in, and I rented a locker for my bag and my computer, and paid like, I think it was $100 for a month.
Nice.
So it was like, okay, I'm paying for a month. We'll see what happens. And I did it, man. And suddenly it was just me with my sleeping bag, my stuff on this locker, 15 minutes away from my sleeping spot, and I didn't have to, and yeah, and that's how I went for the first night. That was July 11th, and he told me 11 p.m. most probably there's not gonna be anyone there. That's when you're gonna walk into your spot, sleep. The next day you need to wake up 6:30 a.m. You don't want the police to come pick you up. That's the time when the police picks up the homeless. There's plenty of homeless people, plenty in Venice. And I did it. I did it the first night, and I woke up. I'm very consistent with like discipline with timings and stuff. That's me. Like 6:30, I was up, picked up my pareo. Was not this one, but like a similar pareo. My back, boom, did everything, and I just sat on a little bench in Venice Beach, did my morning writing. And I was like, okay, I did it. And I even have a video. I recorded it. It's on YouTube. I have my video of like, whoa, just did a first night outside, and it felt good. I think, let's see what happens. And I ended up staying the whole month of July, and then I renewed the public storage for another month, and I ended up spending 50 nights. So all the rest of July and all August. And yeah, that was an initiatory experience for me, for sure. In one sense, because I understood that I don't need anything to survive and to be able to be happy and to have friends, although they were homeless, and some of them not homeless, because you have like this combination of multi-millionaire with absolute homeless, drug addict people walking the same street. So one day I was hanging with a multi-billionaire that was chilling in the park, and the other day I was with the homeless that I saw every morning. It was like, hi, Dakota. And because I had a sleeping bag and nothing else, I was not afraid. No one could steal me anything from me. And I was super kind to the homeless. And this brings me in 1 second. I got a little job on a fruit shop. So I had free fruits. So I would give homeless people fruits.
Oh, so beautiful.
Like, they were friends of mine already. And I would feed them in a way, just fresh fruit. And that also allowed me to just sit next to them with some fruit and tell them, hey, do you mind if I write? And then I would ask them questions and write stuff about their stories. Wow. It was epic. But this brings me into, so the first thing I think I said was, like this thing of like just not needing anything to survive, and just living in the sand with, and still be able to be disciplined with, okay, this time I need to go to the locker closes at 4, so at 3:30 I need to go pick up the last thing I'm gonna use for the rest of the day. My writing, the 2:45, started to happen midday because at night I had no computer. So I just adjusted everything and it worked. And the second thing, as far as like this initiatory experience, was the beauty of giving voice to others. I felt like so many of the people I talked to, no one ever heard them. And I experienced that on first hand too those days. Like just people walking next to me, like I was a ghost, just because I had my sleeping bag, maybe just long beard, long hair, and I looked like a homeless at that time. And if you put me in a sleeping bag now and lose my hair, it's like, oh yeah, right, homeless, whatever. Some people could think that.
Yeah.
But
same here.
Right? Yeah. So it's just the beauty of giving voice to others, because I felt so much love from these people that no one would hear, never, and they would spend. I spent 2 months. They would spend like 5 years already sleeping in the streets with no family, not a single friend, no one that asks them anything. Like, how do you feel today? And like just the importance of that, of like giving the beauty of that, of like giving voice to others. Which I think now the movement, in a way, is that. It's just a different voice. It's not like the voice of the body. It's like, what is your body want to say? And you can say it through movement. Back then it was just by speaking and words and writing. So I think everything is connected in a way. Yeah, I feel like those two were like two big takeouts from that experience.
That's beautiful. When I asked you about this in the the pre-show notes, I had no idea that it had all these layers to it.
Yeah, and I'm
That's
barely sharing. Sorry,
I
there's so
I'm
much more
sure.
in 50 nights.
Yeah.
There's so much more. But yeah.
What an epic journey to go on, and
Yeah.
to allow yourself to experience something like that in a seemingly very grounded way, and very sovereign, like you were choosing
Yeah.
to have this experience. And not that there's any right or wrong way to do something like this, but it sounds unique
Yeah.
to know that you could have gotten the job at the t-shirt store. You could have gotten the job there, stayed in a bed at the hostel, and that could have been your journey in Venice. But you chose
Mm.
to really have this much more, an experience that had so much more depth
Oh, 100%.
than what it would have been. And I think that's like a real testament to who you are, and it's a really good lesson, I feel like, for men to know that you can write your own story. You can do whatever you want, and it's not just what you do, but it's how you do it and how you experience it. This felt like a very empowered situation. It wasn't like a woe is me. Not that there's anything wrong with that, to have experienced something with that kind of energy, but it's just showing that there is a way to experience life, in an empowered way, and making
Yeah.
decisions that are in full alignment.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Um, I was just exploring something new. I was being solid to my book. I
Yeah.
thought it was a good story for the book,
Yes.
and also it was a good test for myself. Like, am I able to do this? Am I gonna be scared as fuck every night? And
Yeah.
I was at some point. I had nights like I had two encounters during a night, but no one ever did anything to me. No one
Yeah.
stole anything from me. No one ever like tried to physically, attack me or anything. And I knew the people, and suddenly it was just again a confirmation that, yeah, like you're saying, like we are the creators of our own reality, and I
Mm-hmm.
can be this, whatever, middle class dude in Buenos Aires doing his own things with his friends and whatever, all structure, family, all this clear and something that
Yeah.
you know where you're going, and literally a month from there, from that, I could be like, oh, now I'm on a journey. I have no idea how long this is gonna be,
Yeah.
because that's another part of the story. It's like, how did I decide to finish this? Because after 50 nights, I mean, after 48 nights, I was like, okay, this is gonna be my life forever. I don't stop. Like, why would I stop
Yeah.
this? I'm barely spending money.
Mm-hmm.
I was working in this fruit shop. I told the fruit shop dude the real story. Like, this is my situation. I'm living here. I'm doing this. If it serves you, I can work a few hours, a few days per week. With that money, is plenty for me, and I get the fruit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, just a completely different reality.
Yeah.
And also taking and because that was another step. Like the moment when I said, yeah, I think I need to stop this, because, and it was after a conversation that I had with a homeless dude that was there for like 10 years, and he was similar to me physically. He had like just long, like when I saw him first, he was just sitting on a bench. I thought, well, this could be like any Hollywood actor just sitting here right now, and I can tell he's a homeless. But and I went to him and we started speaking, and he said, yeah, it's been 10 years now, I'm here, and he was chill. And that made me think, like, oh, if I don't take action, I may be that version too.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, well, I think I need to do something, Pay. Like, I think I need to change something, and I had no idea how nor
Yeah.
what, because my flight back was in November.
Mm.
And then randomly, how the universe works, I got this message from a friend of my mom that lives 2 hours away from Venice, and this was beginning of September. and I guess his kid was starting school or something, so he was leaving the house, so there was an empty room.
Wow.
And she told me, the friend of my mom told me, "Do you want to come to this room?" I guess my mom told her something.
She was getting worried about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom learned this story 20 days after. So for her, I was in a hostel for like 20 days. And on day 20 of sleeping outside, she asked me, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Good." And look, mom, I'm gonna show you something. And I literally, there's a video and I have it myself just sharing, like, look, mom, this is where I'm sleeping. Just for you to take it easy. Like, you see the ocean, you see the police station, you see all these people around. Like,
Yeah.
nothing is gonna happen here. But I want to let you know that I'm not in the hostel.
She was not buying that. Moms do not buy that.
No, but the thing is, at that time I was, I had no, like, I only had WhatsApp when I had Wi-Fi, so I was not connected much to my phone. Like social media, I was not in social media at that time. Like nothing of this was shared in social media.
Yeah.
So this was 2016. It was, I don't know, the connection or the instant.
Yeah, communication.
Yeah, it was not there yet, at least for me in my lifestyle. I don't know. Like if I do it now, yeah, it would be way more like, oh, okay, everyone knows. Not everyone. I mean, I'm sharing it more. Yeah. This was like very personal. So my mom learned about it like 20 days later. And also because I was writing this book, I didn't want to tell people that I was writing this book, so it was hard to explain why am I doing this. You know. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I could have done just work in the shop and no, I did this other thing, but also, and there's something that it takes a lot of responsibility in the sense of I had to go back to Argentina, and I went back to Argentina, and that's when the real mess really started. That was when I felt really, really lost, because now I had to explain this story, and the way I explain this story now, it sounds amazing. It's like, oh, I'm joyful sharing it, and it looks amazing, and it was. But don't get me wrong, when I came back to Argentina at that time, and seeing like, I kind of like right away can imagine like a circle of 20 people watching at me, and I couldn't explain my story just like I explained.
Right.
It was like I had no idea what I was doing, and 20 people, 99% of them were like, "Oh, you're crazy. You know that you're crazy, right?" Like, yeah. And I was like,
"Your family, friends? Is this who you're talking about?"
Friends. Yeah, exactly. Literally like that. Like, "Oh, are you okay? Like, do you need to go to a?" And my family actually, literally, you need to go to see a psychiatrist. And I went, and 3 times, and the last, and I remember I struggling so much, telling them like, I don't want to go. They're like, you need to go. Please do it for us.
Wow.
Like, you know that.
Yeah.
That perspective from the family. It's like, please do it for me. It's like, okay, mom. Like, I hear you, but also like I don't understand you. But I went, and I got stuff out of those encounters. It was never more than 2 sessions with the 3 of them I saw. And then I found a psychologist that I spent like 6 months working with him, and that was good. Nothing too like, whoa, this was amazing. I've never had an experience like that with but I don't get me wrong, I appreciate and I love that there are people, and I feel like that's a beautiful mission to help people through psychoanalysis or psychology. Anyways, just saying that there's beauty and there's also darkness.
Yeah.
And I experienced a lot of darkness too. Like, what am I doing? And having all these people like just looking at me like, oh, you're a weird. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
So was it? So when you got back to Argentina, the main challenge that you experienced wasn't internal. It was mostly just
both.
Handling. It was both.
So
you came back. Because I mean that's kind of what an initiatory experience is meant to do. It's meant to shift and change things. You're not supposed to be the same person before, and it's like, whoa, who the hell am I now? Like, what is life? What am I doing here? Who am I connecting with? What's my mission? So I can see, like, and you were having that, and also having to deal with family who 100%. Doesn't understand at all. Just like, so
100%. The external, like I shared, was definitely there. It was really, really challenging just to try to explain to my uncle who I see once in 3 months, and we happened to coincide in a dinner, and he would ask me, and I would be like, how can I explain you in 15 minutes what I just
Right.
experienced? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
impossible that you're, and knowing that you're gonna judge me from minute zero that I start
Right.
the story. So stuff like that was really, really challenging on an external level. And on an internal level, I was laughing because I remember I did this one video the first night I went back into my family's. I went back to my parents' house in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and I opened the fridge, and the fridge was full. And I remember doing a video like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, why do I live in this house? Why do I have all these things served for me? It was really, really challenging to go back to my previous life.
Right.
Um, but yeah, again, I don't regret anything. And again, that was end of 2016, and in 2017, in that loss, that's when I met this. That's when I connected with this friend who invited me to do Shaolin Kung Fu. So
Yeah.
it's all connected. That was
Yeah.
I just need to push through that
Yes.
darkness and that quote unquote hell with all its magic to actually find a mission and feel that okay, now I'm on a path again.
Because I feel like it's a beautiful example, because when we go into these initiatory experiences, it changes us, and then it sounds like you really came into who you were as a man, having to, seemingly show and tell your family who you really are now, like, this is who I am now, and really embodying that and moving forward. And I feel like that's part of the having these initiatory experiences. Is part of it is coming back, and being and showing the world like who we are, not just having our own experience. And that's valid too, for sure. It's all part of it, but like also like, that separation from mom and dad, and that we need that as men to be able to go out into the world, and now we're free, we're doing our own thing, and we're capable of moving through the world with power and sovereignty.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that sovereignty, just freeing from that was something that I feel like haunted me for a very long time. The fact that I didn't feel enough, like I was not enough to survive on my own. Like I always need, because I always had so much love coming from my parents, like unconditional love. Like really, that's something I acknowledge from them, and I acknowledged them a few times this last trip, because it's like 5 years can pass by. I go back to Argentina, and their love, it's the same that I had when I was 5. Like they're willing to love me and serve me and take care of me. So that is so beautiful, but also it can be very heavy, because it's like, fuck, I need to just feel that I can do things on my own.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Then when I try to do something like that, I go to an extreme opposite, and then they feel that I, how do you say, like I didn't meet their expectation, or I feel like I failed them or something. So it's like, so it's like this vicious cycle of. But like you're saying, ultimately, that's what I need to feel like. Okay, this is who I am. I can do things on my own. I don't need, as much as I love my parents, I don't need them to be a sovereign human being in this planet.
I feel like that's really, many of us have these experiences in our own unique way. We don't all go to Venice and spend 50 nights there, but it's part of being a man. Is many times where your mom and your dad, they don't get it, they don't understand, and that's part of becoming a man. Like, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or with them.
No.
It's just kind of this natural cycle of becoming a man, is distancing ourselves from our parents in some way. And also, it's okay to go back to Argentina and just like feel taken care of. Like, that's cool, to
100%.
And then we go back out, we are a man again on our own sovereign way.
100%.
But yeah, it feels good to like know that they're energetically there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that can feel good. And also just like setting that tone, that stage of like I'm my own sovereign man.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, just acknowledging again, because the energy is here, they are there.
Yeah.
But if I don't do the work of like really, like we were talking earlier, like healing the stuff with my father and like healing some of my own things, then maybe that's when like, okay, I see it there, but I cannot go back. I cannot go back. And for some time I think I was there, like, oh, I can't go back. Now after 5 years it took me to go back to Argentina. Not it was not 5 years if I don't want to go back, but after 5 years I was like, okay, now I'm going back. And I went back, and it was amazing because, again, all of these things happened in the middle. And just to acknowledge that work and that love that I have for my family and that they have for me.
Yeah.
And keeps this energetic bubble here, and I know that I can jump into it without needing it and without wanting to stay, because it's not that I go there for a week and I'm like, oh, I really want to stay here and I want to go back to this. No. I love you guys. It's amazing. And again, as much as I acknowledge this love that you're expressing in this week,
that's beautiful.
I know that if I stay a month here,
that
love is not going to continue like that. Because even in a week, I had a moment of like, I'm feeling some kind of frustration with a thing or two in this house.
Yeah.
And it's like, they are still the same. There are dynamics that are still there. That's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I love them just like they are too.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to transition. So let's take a deep breath together.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1. So the last thing that I would love to
drink water.
Yeah, we'll take a little water break. Keep the mic on, okay? Right up to your lips while you shake a sip of water. No, I'm just kidding. If you're listening to the audio version and can't see us, we are at the beach under some trees here. Right before we started this recording, there was a beautiful blue bird that was above us that was talking to us. That was really nice. And so the last thing that there was a few topics that you mentioned. I asked you what was exciting to you lately, topics to discuss, and there were three that you mentioned, and I'm going to pick out the one that was most exciting to me.
Okay.
Which is, can you guess which one?
I'm not sure if you're talking about, I said money, sex, and something else?
Purpose.
And purpose.
Yeah. So, which one do you think I want to talk about?
I think it's either sex or purpose.
Okay, yeah, sex. So I want to talk about, because sex is like a huge part of who we are as humans, and it's not just a thing that we do, and it's an energy that we carry with us all the time. And I don't want to talk too much about it. I want to know, for you, what is your relationship to your sexual energy right now in this moment?
Well, that is challenging for me to answer. Because as much as I see how I evolved in my relationship towards sex, I also want to be honest, and I can see that I have space for improvement.
Yeah.
And I also acknowledge that I have time for improvement.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I've come a long way, and again, I still have I can feel and I know that I have a long way to go in my relationship with sex and with sexual energy. But yeah, I'm in a good place. I don't know how can I put it in perspective, but I mean, let's see. So if I put it on, I feel like there's if I put it as an external
Mhm.
source, it became way better the way I relate with sexual energy and another person.
Hmm.
When in the past it would always be about me when it came to sex with a woman. I never had sex with a man yet, not close, but I don't know. Um, every time I had sex with a woman, well, not every time, but like the early stages of my sexual life that started when I was around 18, so kind of late, if anything, or for some people late. Or, I don't know. It
Pretty
varies
normal.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I, I recall a conversation I had once with one woman when it was like something clicked. I was like, oh, yeah.
What did
I
she?
never thought about it.
What'd she say?
She was very clear that like she brought me into understanding that yeah, it's the two of us. It's not just me coming and that's it.
Yeah.
Typically, that was the norm.
Yeah.
We're gonna have sex until I come, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like, and for years, I never knew like did she came or not. Like, I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
And it was like, but it was still beautiful because
Yeah.
I would come at some point and we would just like lay down and whatever.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But
Yeah.
I would never ask or.
Yeah. I feel like we get taught about sex in major part, at least in our culture now, because we're not. I mean, now there's a lot of people online that are talking about things. So now we're actually able to learn things from someone other than porn.
Yeah.
You know, and and I feel like that's really helping. But back when you and I were coming up, we were really just getting feedback from women because we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just like, yeah, I'm gonna come and and then the first person who tells us, it's like, oh, we don't even fight it. It just like makes complete sense. Like right away, there's just a beautiful hawk over there right above us.
Oh,
Yeah.
Black one. He was there
Oh yeah.
for some time.
Really?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have no idea until they tell us. So if there's any women watching this, thank you, and don't be afraid to speak your truth about how the experiences are for you, and this is how we, as men, we get feedback because really, we as men, we now that we understand we're men now, we're not boys any longer because we've learned a little bit, we experience God and pleasure through them, through women. So we want to serve them for our own selfish benefits. Like, it's not just serving them and they can have their own, experience. It's like, yeah, when they're, going there, that's like the best thing,
100%,
like
100%.
So, yeah. So tell us more. Like, what do you like? Can you tie in? Has there been any correlation? Because I correlate everything back to sex. From your perspective, like your work with kung fu and animal flow, and your sexual energy, and how you carry yourself in that way.
I feel like during the early stages, no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. Like the first few years of Kung Fu and Animal Fly, I still had the same issues. And then the thing was that once I had that realization I was sharing earlier, then a pattern of mine became that I would come so fast and I would never get to the point where I could see or feel that the other person was experiencing like an orgasm or like this amazing pleasure. And that was really challenging. I've
Yeah.
It got me to a point where I spend like, I don't know if years, but a long time, just kind of shielding myself underneath the statement that I am not a sexual being. Like I would say,
Mm.
in Spanish, that I am yo soy asexual. Like I've
Mm.
said for a long time. Like no, I don't. No, I don't like to. I'm okay. Like we can just hang out, but we don't have to go there.
Yeah.
Like I prefer not to go there because
Yeah.
I was kind of done like with that. Like fuck
Mm.
it, I don't want to do it anymore. It's every time I do it, it doesn't. I go into a place that I actually am not enjoying.
Yeah.
So no, and then I mean I can in a way relate it with the breathing,
Mm-hmm.
but no. I mean I could say absolutely yes and sell you animal flow for sex.
Sell
but
it.
no, it doesn't go like
Sell it, Pedro.
that. You know what I mean? Or no,
I'll sell it for you. You want me to sell it for you?
No. But I mean, you can say. I mean, definitely movement and
Yeah.
getting conscious of your breathing. It definitely helps. I mean, yeah. I would say, the last 2-3 years, I got better in that sense. Like just to control myself and
Yeah.
to actually decide when to come and to actually get to situations in which I decide, okay, I'm not gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's an ongoing thing, and
Yeah.
I haven't had in the last I had a partner from like for 3 years in between 2020 and 2023 where sex wasn't enough, especially for her,
Mm-hmm.
and we went through phases where we worked on some stuff to get better, and we feel better, and I felt better, and then shit faded back again, and I would just go back to. And through that time, I still had watched porn, and I still did some stuff that I knew that are not good for me, and that I don't like to use the word struggle, but I still go there sometimes.
Yeah.
I go through a phase of like, I'm gonna do 40 days without porn, and then at some point I'm just alone in my house and I just wanna feel something, and I go there and I watch, and I'm not proud of this, and it's something I do want to change, and I want to get to a point in which like, oh yeah, it's been 5 years since I watched porn. I'm not there. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and yes, I realize that I've come a long way in my relationship with others, and I experience women having pleasure, and like you say, that was the most amazing experience for me to feel like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is a lot of energy, and it feels so good to be part of this,
Yeah.
to be creating this energy in this container. Yeah, I think I got lost at some point.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, it's really beautiful to hear your journey with this, and I think this is extremely common. This arc that men go on these days, our journey with sexual energy, and particularly with coming quicker than we want to. That's been something I have had to work through as well, and I think it's extremely common.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's like it's a testament to how hard men try at everything. Like we're trying. We're not just like sitting here, oh, I come too quick, fuck you, anything like. It's like I'm seeing this thing, I want to change, I'm working on it, I'm really trying, and like I really feel like this is such a beautiful thing of the masculine, is that we're all in our own way, in our own unique, everyone may not be working on their sexual energy, but they're working on something.
100%.
We are all trying so hard, and there's so much pressure that's on us, you know, to
Yeah.
and and I just want to like honor you, you know, for really trying for all these things, not just this sexual thing, but and you can really feel it on you,
Mm,
all of the work that you have done,
mm,
because when I introduced you at the beginning of the show, I said you were a beautiful embodiment of the masculine. And that's a testament to everything that you've put into yourself in this life. And I think that you hold yourself very well. And I trust you as a man. I feel good with you as a man. I feel safe. I feel connected. I feel love coming from you. So I just want to like really honor like everything that you've done in your life to get here, that we heard, you know, in this podcast, all the I feel like we covered so much of your life in this
yeah.
one, hour and 20 minutes so far show.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to say like thank you for being you. Thank you for being on this show. And I'm going to kind of wrap it up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And is there any final words that you want to project onto our listeners who may know you, may not know you? What do you want them to feel from you as we close this out?
Mm. Oof. Um, I would love everyone to know, everyone to remember, and everyone to feel that we are all one. We are all one. We are just different expressions of the same uh, creator, creation, exploring this field of infinite possibilities. And with that being said, try compassion for the other person because it's literally you just doing something different. It's
Yes.
just you doing something different. So,
Yeah.
it's just me doing something different. The person in front of me, it's just me doing something different. And because I love myself, I'm gonna try to love that person.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said try, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna love that person. Yeah, it's a try.
It is trying.
At least try.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and sometimes love can be just put a limit or set a boundary, but with love.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess that could be a final
Okay.
reflection.
Love. I love it. Because there are pieces of us in everyone else.
100%.
So when we see it like that, it's like, what part of me am I not loving by not loving this part of someone else? So beautiful words,
Yeah.
Pedro. And so where can people find you if they don't already know you?
Definitely on social media and Instagram.
Mhm.
It's at Pedro Ferrando 4.af. So Pedro Ferrando 4.af.
I liked it better in Spanish.
English, up to you. um, that's on Instagram, and then I would say social media. It's just that Facebook I barely use, and then here in Nosara,
Mm-hmm.
if you come to Nosara, you can definitely find me. You'll see me somewhere around. Nosara is a small town. We all see each other. We run across each other all the time. And yeah, through Animal Flow. If you go into Animal Flow world, at some point, I'm pretty sure my name is gonna pop up.
Yeah.
And I'm here to serve in that sense. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, so thank you for coming on the show. I so appreciate it. First one is in the books, and I'm really grateful that it was with you, Pedro. I feel blessed to have this experience with you. I feel so much more connected to you, which is really like my goal of this show, is to just have meaningful conversations with cool people, and I got to do that today with you.
I love that, man. Thank you so much, really, for inviting me to sit here and think of all these things. The moment you shared that you were doing your podcast, I was like, I'm in. And just by reading the few prompts and writing those messages, it was like, oh yeah, this already feels good just to connect with the past, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, to be here sitting in nature doing this and sharing and again just practicing feels really good. So thank you so much.
Blessed, baby.
Yeah.
Do you want to close it off with just for the people that are watching us on video? Do you want to do like a little like a 20-second animal flow here?
Well, might as well do something. Maybe you can hold like a hand balancing posture there and finish it like that.
Okay, cool.
Let me drop the mic.
So for those of us watching on or listening, Pei is doing a something on the ground. I don't know what yet.
I'm gonna go for attack balance, and then I'm not warmed up. I'm gonna try my best, but try to hold that posture and then land in a front kick to finish.
Okay, beautiful. Wow. That was very impressive. Beautiful. I hope that you guys can see this on the video. If you're on the just the audio only, check us out on YouTube. It's at initiated_man, because Pedro just did a super cool move. And with that, I will close it out. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Checking out with Pedro Ferrando. This is Papa Forest. Much love.
Vamos.